Ba bo ba ba. G'day guys, how we doing? Welcome back. This painting, two other ones, pretty exciting times. I've got a coffee, I've got a plan. I'm a man with a plan. Now, you'll also have to let me know, I guess we'll wait for a few more people to be here, but let me know if the traffic is too loud. It's just a wee bit stuffy, so I've got some doors open. And I think that's fair enough. Darko, welcome into the room, mate. Just gonna grab this cord here. I forget charging things. That's important. Come on, reach up. There we go. Reach for the stars. Climb every mountain higher. Reach for the stars. Excuse me. Always do this to keep my hair out of my eyes. All right. These brushes are for oil paints. I like them, but they are not for right now. What we need for right now, what, is something in this big old collection. Because I don't know if it's for sure. There we go. A little bit of that. How's the sound, team? Haha, kidding? Kidding, yeah. Fair enough. How's the sound? Is the sound all goody? All goody. I hope so. I certainly hope so. And we'll get a little bit more of this colour. So we're going to start with some smoother colours, and I'm going to combine them with maybe just a little bit of pastel. For some reason, my knees have been playing up a little bit. Just a little bit. Means I'm getting old. Carlos, yes indeed I do. There is two available, but they're not listed online. They are just in my private Mi Privito collection. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, typically the paintings do sell though. They travel all around the globe, but mainly to Europe and the US. English-speaking countries. The prints go everywhere, but I think that's because Shopify does multiple languages, whereas I only speak one language, which is kind of niggly. It'd be pretty fun if there was like 3 back-to-back streams, one in English, one in Spanish, and one in Mandarin, but I can't. Stargate, welcome on in, you champion. Chuck on some Sia. Who's Sia? Who's Sia? Also, guys, let me know if you can hear the traffic. Like I was saying, I've got a door open, but I want to make sure it's not too loud, but it could be. Well, that's the question though, guys. Am I allowed to play music? Are you allowed to play music on the stream? Or do they ban it? These are the questions. These are the questions we all ask ourselves. You can do whatever you want. Is that right? Is that right? Well, we got a bunch of suggestions coming in there. Nick, you're on your first warning. You're starting to act weird. I love you being here, but we need you to be normal. That's all right. Here we go. You're all good, Nick. You're all good. Here we are. Let's throw some of this in here. Might just spin this ever so slightly and take these off. Down to just the one plate there. Down they go. Spin that there a little bit. Drop that and spin that. There we go. Try and keep that reflection off it just a wee bit. I actually had a bunch of those old school songs stuck in my head. You guys used to listen to the songs like songs from Sum 41 or Blink 182, or is that before everyone's time here? Had someone asking who Elton John was to me the other day. And I'm like, come on. Oh, come on. But I can see, though, people just don't know these people. But I just figured, like, no matter how far time went, I thought there'd always be room for Tiny Dancer. Turns out people were going to grow past it. I wasn't ready for that. I don't think anyone really is when we move on from things we believe to be cultural icons or important pivotal parts of society. You're not that old? Jeepers, Kyle. Look, I'll be honest. I never went to a Elton John concert, but he's been influential on me. I loved Your Song. I loved a lot of his music. I thought he was a real hero. Used to play the song that he did with Eminem. Can't quite remember it. Mad in a good way or a bad way? In fact, now when I said it out loud, I now realise that both those ways are good ways. Chosen medium, today it's acrylics, but we use a real mixture around here. I like using egg tempera on occasion. It's the most amazing colour that comes out of the work. I love using egg tempera. I love using acrylics. I love using oils, but oils are only for outside, and today it's just a little bit rainy. Just a little bit rainy, which is a little bit niggly for the surface. LJ, how are we doing? My braces are off. I never had braces. I did actually in high school. I had a pair of braces on my lower teeth, which was always nice. And yeah, subtlety in acrylic texture is always fantastic. I think I overpronounced the R though. R acrylic. That would be a pirate's favourite medium. I'm gonna repeat that. Hey Joshy, how you doing? Let's have a little look-see up here. Get a little bit of a few streaks in these trees just to build up a little bit of the fun up in here. There's not a whole lot of canvas left. It's normally paint on paint now. You've been up for 14 hours, you wildcat. Yeah, get some sleep. Get some sleep. And hey Vic, how you doing? Cause I don't know if it's for sure. There we go. There we go. I range between 15 minutes and 5 weeks. Oh, for waking up times. Jeepers creepers. Jeepers creepers. You can borderline get that checked, I reckon. Good night, Carolyn. Get some well-earned sleep. Relax. There we go. I'm going to nip into the background here a little bit. Around the edges of the canvas. Just a touch. Part of me won't agree. Am I the handsome Elon Musk? That's wild. I'm like a handsome Elon Musk without billions of dollars and an understanding of electric cars. I suppose the fact that the word handsome's in the sentence is fantastic, but I don't think anyone's screaming out with excitement to be. Not that there's not that there's anything wrong with looking like Elon Musk, but I think we'd all have a preference. Did I miss a tutorial? Oh, no. I was actually preparing a work today, and wildcard, I needed to do a lot of sanding. And so I was doing some hand sanding. I was going to stream it actually, team, but when it came down, push came to shove, it was really, really noisy. And I thought, ugh, nah, we won't do that. But the option was there. The option was there. And I thought, I will finish the sanding off first because I get the feeling this is the most annoying sound. Some will be like, oh, I'll just pop it in CC before I go to sleep. They'd end up in the chat room and all I'd hear was and I'm like, I don't imagine that's going to be relaxing. I just can't see it. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. You know I'm excited about it. You know I'm excited. Gonna have a little paint helper. It's gonna be fantastic. Someone to help me throw around some layers of paint. Part of me won't agree. Because I don't know that it's for sure. Da da da, la da da. La da dee doo 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 doo. Perfect. You can do little. That's a fun idea, Jade. I like where your head's at. That's actually. I like that. Yeah, this one's half me and half. We don't have a name yet, actually. I'll let you know, Jade, but there is no name at the moment. So once we know the name, then we'll know who's collabing with who, which will be pretty fun. Let's get this a little bit in here. Just lighten up some of these colors with a bit of wild. How many paintings am I doing today? We'll see how we go. But we should be doing, depending on how fast the painting I've been sanding dries, that'll have a huge impact on how many paintings we get done today. So at the moment, let's just say this one and a second one. We'll say 2. Pardon me. Beautiful. That's a great question, Matthew. That is a great question. And right now it has been all over the show. And so I've been asking people, what time is your preference for me to stream? So if there is a time that works best for you, where you think, actually, Seb, it'd be really cool if you were online at X or Y, DM it to me. And if there's a consensus, I'll try and make that be factored in to when we stream. Obviously, priority for that's going to be given to the subs, who at the moment are looking like they prefer the morning, the sort of 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. New Zealand time, because it doesn't get too late. But we'll see how we go. Thanks, Nick. You're a champion. Well, the most important thing, Matthew, is it's going to result in us having a schedule. And a schedule will mean that actually, even if you don't have a preference on time, you'll know what some of the shifts, sessions, sets, I don't know what you want to call it, but you'll know when some of those are on, which will be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yes, Victoria's got to vote on the morning. It's looking like Victoria, there's definitely going to be 2 or even 3 mornings in amongst the mix. So if you're a morning person, if you'd prefer that I streamed 4 hours ago, if that's better for you, that is on the agenda, definitely. But if you're like, actually, it'd be sick if you were on in 4 hours' time, y'all need to start speaking up because the preference is definitely on this morning shift right now. And then once we get a schedule, we can actually know exactly when they start. And that way, we can all have a cup of coca together, sit down, and know when we're starting. Cheers, Melissa. Morning for you is afternoon for... Yes, I feel that. Well, that's the thing, because it's kind of like if there's a work you're following, and then all of a sudden you just get thrown into the mix where you're like, whoa, I'm driving right now. It'd be cool if you didn't just start randomly on me. That's what the schedule will do. And the big request for it has been from some of the subs who have commissions, this one included, I think, have feelings towards being like, hey, I'd love to join, but when you show up sporadically, I miss moments. It'd be cool if I actually knew when you were doing it. So we're going to release a weekly schedule with what work's been done when, which would be cool. So that's on the way. This is all inbound. I'm working on this stuff. I've been working on something pretty cool. Guys, I've got some really exciting news. Victoria, this was your idea. What are we painting today? Love. We're painting a young couple. The father of the boy on this side has asked for the shot. I shouldn't say boy. He's at university. He's got, he's studying law, and he wants to make the world a better place. He wants to defend, what do you say? Defend? He's got an incredible quote. His father asked him why he was going to university to do what he was doing. And he said, it moved me. Why did I forget this? I'll look it up. I don't want to muck it up, so I'll look it up and I'll tell you guys. But he's got a very, very, when you say lofty ambitions, normally you think like, he wants to own a company or run a company or have a big business or own a big house. It was lofty ambitions in terms of philosophy. It was, he wanted to do something significant to the world, but not because he wanted to do something significant, because he believed the thing he was aiming towards was meaningful. It's slipping my tongue. It wasn't make the world a better place. It wasn't defend this democracy? Something. It was patriotic, but beautiful and kind at the same time, and I've forgotten it. Anyway, I'll find it out, tell you guys, and we'll go from there. That will be a part of it, Matthew, but not exactly that. But no, honestly, cool guy. And this is his partner. He's met her while they were at university together, and now they're together, and everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. That's the cool part about it. So lots of colour, lots of layers, bring love out of the picture. So you'll see in like parts like this. I'll give you a quick zoom. I'll just sneak around here so we don't have to do a big deal about it. But if I zoom in here, you're going to see some of that intensifying. See all that there? Wild colours all over each other. There might be about 14 pigments there. Just guessing. But it's that intensity and that layering that we really, really want. And you can see in here in these blacks, there's just not enough going on there just yet. Those darker hues need more work, but we're getting some fun across here. Maybe another 5 or 6 to really get the energy getting right in the picture. And the same thing goes with the lady we've got here. Her dark hues are currently underrepresented, no doubt. So that is a major focus right now, to actually get all those, to not lose the blue, but build up more hues. Imagine hue is the type of color. If tone is from white to black and affecting the light and darkness of a color, the hue is what actual color it is. Red, yellow, green, purple, orange. And you want as many of those as possible, especially when you're capturing love, because all those hues form this kaleidoscope of depth and complexity and invoke the emotions that we feel when we see love. That's why when you think of love in a painting, you imagine something blossoming, big, colorful, explosive. So that's why we use all these colors, if that makes sense. Yes, I did, but I didn't finish an art degree. I finished a degree in art, history, and philosophy. But all of that is in the bio on the website. Goa or Gower? Matthew, Gower. Great question. I fill out forms online. Oh, sorry, via the phone, and I do get Goa. The accent plays in there a little bit, so that does happen. Good question. I'm just going to bring this back a little bit more. There we go, and spin you around there a little bit and tighten that off there. Perfect. Fantastic. Wait, you said you had exciting... yes, I did. Victoria, this is your idea, and we're going to do this. So, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work yet, but I'm going to show you. And actually, this is fantastic because you guys can actually throw some ideas at me and tell me what you think. It's over here. I'm just going to pull it down. Here we go. Okay. Look what I've got here. Okay, so excuse the glass, the way it's reflecting, because these are the lights. But this here is a print, and it's an ebony midnight black frame with a ivory cream mounting. I'll show you up close here. So you can see there up close. You see that very, very light mounting around the edges. It adds an extra little bit of dimension. A very, very basic black frame. Brings subtlety into it, so it works on a bunch of walls. And this is Africa. And then just at the bottom there, you got a little signature. But the more importantly, this is Africa and a lovely canvas. And I wanted to do something special, something special for everyone, because we talk about art being available to everyone, and that's not just something we tick off and say is done. That's something we keep on trying to do. And so what I wanted to do was somehow, I'm not sure whether we form a link that we fill out, like submit applications for, or if we do some sort of competition where you tag or mention or comment, or how to do it. But basically, I wanted to start giving away a few of these prints to people. And the idea is not to people who, if you can afford them, just buy it. like you're not the target of this. I'm glad you can afford one. Go do your thing. This is for people who you feel like art would have a huge impact on their home or their space. Schools, classrooms, homes. And ideally, the idea would be that we'd get prints, and I'll tell you which print the giveaway is going to be, and then we can try and figure out how we can get it into the correct home. And I reckon it'd be pretty cool. But I don't know how to do it yet. But here we go. This is the first one. I've ordered this one for myself just to make sure everything was perfect with the, I actually gave away. You remember we had the farmer, the big picture we were doing. I had that print, but the farmer's daughter bought that original, and I had a print of it, and then I gave the print to the daughter's. The farmer's daughter-in-law bought the original. I had a print of it, and the daughter's father took the print. So I got this one to replace it. That's why this one exists in my possession. I hope I got that all correct. But yes, we need to talk about ideas for how we can get these things into the hands of people who, on one hand, might not be able to afford them, but on the second hand, could use with some art in their lives. This stuff here, it's my belief that art can bring vitality and joy and happiness to people, and people need that a whole lot more. And so I feel like together, with the right system or the right way of going about it, we can put this in some pretty special places for some pretty special people. And yeah, so I'm excited. Anyway, why am I struggling to speak? I trip over my words all the time, RC. I'm not struggling to speak today. I just struggle to speak in general. Typically, because my mind goes a million miles an hour, I'm thinking about painting, thinking about how I can put this in someone's hand who needs it mentally or for whatever means. And I'm reading comments. and I stutter a little bit every now and again. So yeah, sometimes I struggle to speak. That's me. I like it actually. And you know what? Some people give me DMs and say, hey, I feel good because you take a video and post it and you're stuttering in it. You haven't like polished it and made it perfect. So again, imperfection's pretty cool, DC. I reckon anyway. Anyway, if I missed a few comments there, DM me with your idea of how we can do it. I'm thinking at the moment, the best way is probably just to put it up online and then you can submit via the website because we'd want some details, not just like, if it's like a share comment tag, people will just tag anyone and we won't know why. But if you're able to actually say, hey, this is Auntie Cynthia and she doesn't have any art in her home, but it would mean the world to her and she, blah, 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 that's cool. Let's get on board with that. Let's get it in her hands. So, still thinking. Anyway, perfect. That's well, Nick. One of the things that happens to me, the big thing is it's not so much a nervous stutter. It's more that my mind races off at 100 miles an hour and my tongue can't keep up because you start speaking at a rapid blah, 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 and the tongue just sort of, as you're speaking, just falls out of the mouth and yeah. Anyway. And that's on top of losing the trail of thought because you're answering a question and running down a tangent and then you forget where you actually started and you sort of just drop the ball and continue. I missed that name there? Cookie. Unfortunately, this painting is a commission. It's got a home. But speaking of having paintings, that print idea, I think we like it, that's good, but it's not the only thing that I've been thinking about. The other thing, which is going to affect all of you, everyone, is going to be the wallpapers, phone wallpapers. So I'm going to get some JPEGs, sized, high quality resolution things, available for you guys to actually download and put on your phones. They won't be, they'll just be phone scale, but the idea is if you can't get a print and if you can't get an original and you don't win a print and your options become a little bit limited, well, free wallpapers. I reckon that's cool. So, and it's not my idea. I got given it by an Auckland artist who does textiles. And she turns the textiles into phone wallpapers for free for people and then sells the copyright for the textiles to big companies to do all sorts of stuff with. But anyway, she said it's a great way to get your art out there to people who can't afford to give money to it. So that's one plan going on. You won't have to hold fire for too long for that one. We're just choosing which ones. I think at the moment we're going to release 3 wallpapers because 3 is fun. One of them is going to be Cassie's Joy, which is the dog, because that's kind of just fun. One's going to be a landscape. I haven't decided yet. And I think one is going to be a wild card. Undecided. Wild card landscape dog. I think that's fun. Okay. Do I only have one of each painting on my site? Typically, Matthew, there should only be one of each painting because they're originals, but there's currently no paintings. What's that little hair drifting off the side there? There's no paintings listed on the website right now. I've just got 3 in my collection. I've got Hercules, I've got Hibiscus Surf, and I've got one other one. What is it? A water skiing one, if you remember the water ski. Rooster Tail. So I've got those 3 in my possession, and everything else is gone burger. Steve, I was preparing our surface this morning, but I was going to say, I was going to stream it live, but there was lots of sanding involved, and it was obscenely obnoxious. And I thought, let's not stream this will drive people crazy. But basically, guys, the start of the process, you get your surface. It could be anything. It could be a canvas, It can be a board, it can be ACM panel, it can be metal, aluminium sometimes, bamboo. And you sand it lightly. Now the reason you sand it is it provides tooth to the surface so the sizing can bind into it. I will get back to the painting in just a second, I swear to God. But let me just walk you through this. Surface, so in this case, it's an ACM panel, which makes it perfectly flat and rigid, which will work best with the mediums that go onto it. You sand it with 220 grit sandpaper. 220. Don't use 100, don't use 250, don't 220. That's where I've figured out provides the best bite for binder, best bite for sizing. So don't put too much thought into that. Just remember 220. Get that sandpaper, sand the whole thing. Sizing is where you put basically a layer of, it's not glue, but basically a layer of glue in between whatever the surface mount is and the painting is. So that way if the surface mount starts to deteriorate, rust, rot, whatever might happen, it's not going to affect the painting on the other side because there's a layer of glue in between. Really, really important. Now, sometimes what happens with older paintings is they didn't do the sizing right, and so when the wood starts to rot, it affects the paint on this side and starts to deteriorate the work from the inside out. Really bad. So good sizing, good layer of glue, but you can't paint onto glue sometimes because what happens is the paint can't hang on to it. So your surface, your sanding, your glue, and then you have your binder. The binder helps binding happen. Pretty straightforward. Binders also gets called primer in some instances, but basically after the sizing goes on, the protective layer, the binder comes in there and goes on top of the sizing. It'll hold on to the glue and it provides what's called tooth for the paint. And binder commonly, I've got no punnet anywhere near me, but it's called gesso usually with art. And gesso is just a fancy word for it. And typically you could probably just say it's white paint, but it's slightly different. Yeah. So a sizing element, it used to be called rabbit skin glue, but the stuff I use is called acrylic sizing primer. I forget. Anyway, then the gesso / binder, and then you're ready to paint. Some people sand from there to get a perfectly smooth surface. I don't really bother. I like the texture to start with, but I apply the layers quite methodically. It's almost like the foreplay of the painting, and so typically when I'm applying those layers, it's gentle and consistent. And that way, you sort of prepare the surface to start. Yeah. So that's the whole starting process. I'll do a reel on it, but I'll have to cancel the noise off because the sanding is loud. I even put in earplugs this morning because it really does. The whole building just reverberates. KK Newley, I've been way behind on uploading the recordings, but I have downloaded them. So I'm just waiting to upload them. And we're working on a schedule, KK. So we'll sort you out. Do not worry. Okay. Let's get back to this color. I hope I explained that all sufficiently before my paint all dries. Here we go. There we go. Couple little touch points, and now that we're getting to this stage of the painting, I do get a bit more obnoxious with the amount of texture I'm allowed to hit the surface of the painting. Before, I'm very much so restraining it in order to allow me to be able to move things going forward. But now, I'll be fairly belligerent. Allow chunks to land on the painting and things like that. Where previously, I wouldn't have allowed any. Let me just get this out of the way though. One last little sip. Karaoke go-to. I don't know the name of the artist, Thai something, but She's So High is my song. Because if you're too out the gate, you can just go straight into falsetto and you'll be okay. A little bit of water. Let's get this out of the way. Bang on. Only because I want to hug this corner a wee bit. Come around the side. The side's looking beautiful, actually. Enjoying that. Okay. Coming down here. It'll be so different from the actual song that no, certainly there won't be copyright. But no, I'm going to sneeze though. It'll be... Bless me. There you go. It's close to singing. Well, Nick, I appreciate your enthusiasm. And maybe when the mood strikes, we'll do some singing. But the one thing we're not going to do is force ourselves to sing in a situation just because I want to make you happy, Nick. But honestly, I don't feel like it right now. Not making you happy, the singing part. Not because I'm not happy. I'm super happy. Appreciate that, Nick. Appreciate that. Now, what we are going to do, speaking of happy, let's get these pinks added in here. Up in here too. Beautiful popping colours up through here. Hello. Dancing over the surface. Coming on around here. And coming on down here. Nah, I actually need to remove the floor tiles that I've got down here. Because what will happen if you have a drop mat and you have an apron and you have all these special little things to help you paint, you end up getting lazy and splashing more paint around. And I like a purposeful approach to painting. I like to think that every drop of paint landed exactly where it was supposed to go. And I can confirm that to myself psychologically if I manage to maintain as much of the chaos as possible on the surface of the painting, rather than allowing it to cascade over the entire room. Yeah, he's a clean painter. Tries to be. I fail dismally sometimes, guys. Sometimes, honestly, yes, it can be shipped to the UK. I do get hit with VAT tax, but that's okay. I cover that for you in the quote. But we don't know what it is until it arrives. So typically what happens is you'll get charged VAT tax. You send me the invoice and I reimburse you the cost. But VAT tax is a little bit niggly. But yes, absolutely shipped to the UK. Europe. There's 2 paintings in the United Kingdom. There's 1 painting in Germany. There was gonna be 1 in Amsterdam. Didn't end up going there. There's 1 that I still haven't shipped yet that's supposed to go to San Sebastian. Silly me. I'll get it there. Whoa. Hello, JB. How we doing? Welcome on in. But yes, anywhere in the world, guys. These paintings go in really secure boxes, so it is absolutely going to make it safe and sound. Question though, Steve, did you bada bing bang bug? Did you keep your box or did you toss it? Because the original box that Mahalo came in was actually a keeper. If you wanted to, that didn't need to go. Yeah, the box. Yeah, fan of the boxes. Did you keep the box though? Because you can keep it. Those ones are actually permanent boxes. A lot of artists use them to go around those particular style of boxes and actually use them as their artwork tours around galleries. But I send the artwork, the artwork in the box, because then when it arrives, it can get tucked under the bed or something, and if you move house, just in the box, it's safe and it can go. Sorry, there was a comment there that I missed. Going back up. Matthew, no, I'm not rich. I do get harassed by my accountant because I give too much of the money away. So we typically ride about 30% of all the money I make gets donated to charity. but we typically try and that's no hard fast rule. Apparently, I'm not allowed to go over it, but as long as we stay on that mark or around it, it's all good. That's accountant talk, though. That's just what I'm told. And the other thing, yes, champion Steve. That's the idea. That's why I like that. No. If you want to keep it, Steve, my first instinct when I saw them was I need to swap the polystyrene because if it's like a latex or a rubber, then you can keep it and like put Lego in it and things like that for a family. Was my thought. And sorry, there was another question there. There was Seb rich? And the answer there is no. But if I was going to be rich, though, I'd go and be a. I reckon one thing, if I wanted to be rich, what I would do is I'd sell real estate. I just reckon if I wanted to be a snake oil salesman and give that friendly pitch and make new couples buy houses, I reckon I'd be good at that. But I can't think of something that I wouldn't find that as fulfilling as trying to make people happy. I'd feel like you're just pushing sales to forward your agenda a little bit. So that's what I do for money. So if I ever go broke, and you see me wearing a real estate blazer and using my social media to sell houses, you'll know that I've given up on my dreams. But in the interim right now, you can know that this is what I do. I choose to do it because I love it. And yeah, no regrets there. And the other one there is I do pay for all my own paint. So I have talked to a few paint companies and I've reached out to a few considering the idea of going exclusive with paint, but I haven't met a paint yet that I think, yep, just that one forever. That's the one I want. I have got a few that I fantasize about paint-wise. I think, yeah, that's good. That's a good kind of paint. But nothing just yet that I think, nah, I don't want to sign up for the next 10, 1, 2, 4, even 4 or 5 months to a paint that I don't fully think that's the dollar. That's the one. So no. So if I tell you that something's good, like a gesso or an acrylic primer, or an oil paint, or some type of brushes, know that no one's paying me. I'm just giving you some love. Is that not ridiculously expensive, buying paint? Honestly, everything's expensive. If you want to become a cyclist, bikes cost over $1,000. Tires, bike pumps, biking shoes, latex to ride your bike on, bike helmets, driving to location, bike rack on the back of the car. Now electric bikes, they're several $1,000s. Tickets into bike races, running. You've got running shoes, running pants. You've got all your electrolyte drinks. You've got your headphones that allow you to hear cars coming past. You've got your nutrition. You've got your Spotify subscription for your running playlists. Like, everything costs. Everything costs. And I'm not going to sit here and get hung up on how much I pay for paint because you know what? One thing I've learned through my career is that high quality paint is worth every penny you pay for it. And I haven't heard of a single person on the Forbes rich list being like, I got here selling paint. So I think what they're charging for it's fairly reasonable. And I typically buy cheap brushes though, so I don't get hung up on the quality of the brushes. Artists hate me for that. That's a lie. Some artists get a little bit like, why don't you buy the best brushes? Because you can get them. I prefer synthetic, cheaper brushes because sometimes I get in the mood where I want to push hard and wreck it, and I don't want to limit myself to not be able to do that. So I like to have cheap brushes so I can use techniques where I wreck them. And I used to actually properly wreck them and then send them away with the artwork. But I don't wreck them that bad anymore. So I typically keep them, run their life out, and then get new ones. But the paint, get the best paint you can possibly get. And if you want to be sparing with it, you can get mediums. We don't use this to be sparing, but this is called primal. You don't need to get primal. You can get any kind of acrylic extender. And the idea of doing that is you can make your colours go further. So that's that. Coming on down here. Sorry, Sanjana. Yeah, yeah. If I start selling used cars, please blow up my inbox and say, Seb, please remember your dreams. Um, coming down here. I wouldn't mind being a Buddhist monk, actually. That does sound pretty cool. Ooh, good question, Matthew. Good question. Don't ever store paint. Don't ever store paint. Paint goes stale. Not not conventionally stale, but it does go off. As you use it and you open it, it'll always be trying to set. Whoop. And so once you open paint tubes, the best thing you can do is use them as fast as humanly possible. So don't overbuy. I know when a sale comes on, it's tempting to buy a million tubes, but use what you plan on using in the next 3 months. That's my rule. 3 months on the paint tubes, and that means you get the freshest paint you can get. Sometimes when I open up a tube of oil that I haven't used for like 2 years, and it just comes out, I'm just like, oh, this is not the money. This is not the go. I need fresher stuff. So, within 3 months, team. And I think the best rule to follow there too is to don't think within 3 months of buying it. I'd say within 6 months of buying it, but 3 months of opening it. And so sometimes I'll have, if you remember the Buddhist work that we did with the monks, with a whole bunch of green and orange, there was a reason for that. If you notice these paintings, this one's got it in the edges, but we don't use a whole lot of greens, except I need the greens. So, occasionally, to run some green tubes out, we'll grab a big canvas and do a big green work. That's why there's a few splashes of orange in there, but actually, predominantly green. Run out those olive greens to make way for a new tube that's nice and fresh. Otherwise, when I grab my green, it's stale and old in comparison to the newer yellows and blues and reds that I've been using. Yellow's another one. Yellow's another one that goes stale on me occasionally. But it's such a weak colour sometimes too that actually I do end up using more on a picture than I ever planned to. These are all factors. These are all factors. I hope I'm talking sense too. Zeet, you're in your first snowstorm in Calgary. We haven't completed any works since you were last on. We're in the process of a bunch of works, but none are completed. But you're in the right place to watch works be completed, which is pretty exciting. Here we go, I'm going to zing a bit in there. Get a bit of energy in these shots. That is not the right color in there. Splashed the wrong ones. I'm going to get rid of that. No, Matt. I don't. I've got nothing against coffee art, but I certainly don't wake up in the morning and crave it. And in terms of playing with Play-Doh, look, there was a time in my life where I thought Play-Doh was the stuff. Don't get me wrong, I was a Play-Doh boy. But I was also 7. So, time rolls on. But, now that I've got a baby girl on the way, I suspect my Play-Doh days are not fully behind me. And maybe about to have a renaissance, which is pretty fun. One thing my mother used to do with Play-Doh is she'd get essence, like lavender essence and things, and splice it into the Play-Doh. And so each colour would have a different smell. So you'd have blue as a blueberry scent, you'd have purple or violet as a lavender scent, yellow as a daisy scent, and you just add a little bit of essence into it and have a fantastic outcome. And so then as a child, you're playing with colours that also are connected to smells. Little trick. I've been considering, here's one little wild card. I've been considering splicing essences into my colours while I'm painting. But I haven't done it yet, as I just make sure that it's not going to deteriorate the paint over time. But the idea is your painting would arrive, and depending on what colours were predominant in it, it would change what the overall smell of a canvas was. And you'd have this light, like we're not talking intense blowing the head off the room, but if you leant forward to it and sniffed your canvas, it would have these coffee or chocolatey or different smells. And no one would know except the owner of the work, and you guys, because I've told you, and me. It would be a special thing. And even people who saw their work may not know that actually the purples in it had this light colour of lavender. Well, the browns would be probably... Coffee's not universally loved, but it would be pretty cool. I think I'd use for brown probably chocolate, like a cacao. No, not full on sweet chocolate, but a cacao. And add that to the painting. That would be fantastic if you ask me. Yeah. Well, that's pretty exciting. You've done it before. Plus, it's fun for me too, to be able to smell the essential oils. There we go. Now we go into the turquoise. A little soft spot for this colour here. The paint is going on pretty thick at the moment, but it's not quite there yet. Building up layers. Although, and I'm really, really sorry if you were talking about how thick the paint was on the painting. But we're going to give you a stand down period, because that's not how you say hello to a chat room. Anyhow, are you painting, doing a memorial? Ooh, maybe. Maybe. That's actually a fun idea. A memorial for the children's room. I reckon we might. I have been collecting a few handmade things. Oh, I was supposed to share the one that I got with you guys. Steve, help me. What's that thing called? You told me yesterday. An anchor? A thing. The thing that dangles above a child's head. It's a thing. A thing. A mobile, that's right. Like a gas station. There we go. It's all coming back to me now. When you touch me like this, and you whisper like that. Here we go. Oh, thanks, JB. I appreciate that. And no, I am the only painter. The only painter in about 5 to 7 generations of farmers. And through the support of some loving friends, loving family, and the time it takes to actually realize and pursue your dreams. It's longer than you think. I've gone and broken the trend of farmers. Still done a bit of farming, don't get me wrong, but broken that trend and run off to become an artist. Jeepers, Matthew, she's not on social media. It ain't her style. Here we go. A little bit through here. And a little bit through here. But it was funny, actually. turned out trendy on TikTok and the Google searches after we did the gender reveal was Sid Gower wife, which is pretty funny. I'm going to make her real shy. Well, Matthew, I think all you need to know about her is that she's a lovely person. And she supports me being a painter and supports me pursuing my dreams while I support hers. And that's what a good friend and a good companion should do for you. Past that, that's what's relevant. That's what matters. Here we go. Yeah, LJ's feeling that one. It's true, guys. I heard a great quote. And I'm going to say it for what the quote said, but obviously it applies to both genders. It said, success attracts the woman you want. Obviously. Success will attract the woman you want. But struggle attracts the woman you need. And I think what's kind of cool is that if you are lucky enough to find a person that you can both be successful with and struggle with, that is something worth fighting for. Here we go. Not saying we're struggling, just give me the quote. Samantha. Is Matthew trying to name the kid? Here we go. And a little bit through here, just some little lines. Little bits. Thick, transparent chunks to just build up a few of these pieces. There we go. Beautiful. What colour's going to come up next? Let's put that down for now. Wipe down this brush. There we go. Next colour off the ranks is going to be a little bit of green and a little bit of red, but the wild card here is going to be a deep blue that we splice into it. There we go. This is going to be where we capture a few of those darker tones that I showed you in the close-up earlier. There we go. Beautiful. Watata. Oh, thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, mate. And wherever you are in the world, hope you're looking after yourself, healthy and happy. Thanks, Stargate. Appreciate you, mate. And let's give this here. Just ran over the edges there a little bit. We got some fireworks. I thought the fireworks would be the most fun, guys, because I was watching some of the replays on YouTube and the gifts that get sent through appear on the screen, which is kind of fun. But I thought the fireworks are probably one of the most fun ones to see. Fireworks, kiwis, galaxies. They're the cool ones. I like those ones. All right. Now, darker colours. There's going to be a few little touch points through here, mainly down through here, across the sleeve there, a little bit more in the hair. Those greys just in here are a bit intense. And then touch points throughout the sky. Dragon. Dragons are cool, Jay. Dragons are cool. I think I like the lime. I like the raw because it does that. The problem is the big lime's the big one, but I like the little lime because it's cute, and so it's a hard one. Do you go for the one that's your favorite, or do you go for the biggest one? And obviously, the answer is the favorite. That's the big one. And the kiwi's fun because it's just for New Zealand, which is kind of cute. I like that. I like that. It's like our cute little mascot. So you got to get on board with that. But yeah, Gliz Masters live before. I haven't seen Glizmaster, but he sounds like a lovely, or she sounds, or they sound like a lovely individual. They sound like a lovely individual. I don't often, honestly, I should be, what's the term, surveying the competition more, but it's not about that. We got these commissions, these pieces of art, and we work on them together, and then because people are amazing, they give me suggestions, but I don't typically do a whole lot of research on how to be good at this. I threw the live under a bus yesterday because I couldn't figure out how to get out of the flare thing. um, there we go. When you finally see, cheers, Rockwell. Oh, thanks, Stargate. I appreciate it. I think the good thing about it is, I do like going live on Instagram too and YouTube. Part of the reason why I stick to TikTok is people are like, oh, TikTok, I don't have TikTok, or complain about TikTok and things. Well, you know what? It's really easy to read the comments. It's really easy to read the comments. And if I can read the comments, I can actually engage and we can connect. And with Instagram, it's so small down the bottom of the screen and they flick so fast. And so it comes quite hard to actually have a meaningful connection with someone or a group of people because you say something and then you get ignored. And there's nothing worse in a group when you actually put your hand up and say something out loud, which is the equivalent in a chat room online, and no one says anything and it gets ignored. Especially if you're sharing your feelings or you're engaging with something about feelings and you want to be heard. Like it's a tough one. Anyway, let me scroll here. Cheers, Rockwell. I was going to work with a few smaller ones. Like the comments, honestly, I think the comments are fantastic. I like the fact that it's live. I like the fact that I can get questions and get challenged with them in real time. A lot of the time when I get asked a question, I might have time to polish my answer and think about it, but I think it's important to see someone's expression when they get asked it and how they react to it. Sometimes you start to feel like, especially when you do reel after reel and then everyone starts to think you have the answers. I don't know is a fantastic answer, guys. I don't hear nearly enough of it, especially not on social media. How many people on social media actually say, I don't know? Like, everyone, when you scroll through it, it's just usually the whole way down your feeds, either happy-go-lucky, for me it's happy-go-lucky dog videos, and then a whole bunch of people with quotes and answers for me. No one being like, I don't fully understand this. How many reels like that do you get to see? But yeah, so I think that's where live's beautiful because I think we get more of a refreshing taste of humanity in that it's not just, you don't feel like the person on a live stream or in this case me. I don't think you get the feeling that I do have all the answers, but you get the feeling that I'm just trying my best. And I think that's a good way to be a human. So, do I like all the comments? I do. One of my favorite ones is the criticisms because they help me actually understand what I do like or what I need to work on about my art, what I may have missed or failed to connect on in certain instances. Some people may need to cool off a wee bit before jumping on their phone. But different people are different. And we need to celebrate that. Ooh. I am a fantastic age of 30 years old. 30 years old. There we go. And splash a little bit around here. A few little touch points. And then up through here. You're not wrong, Steve. You are not wrong. And now that I've said that, maybe Facebook's going to start suggesting them to me, but people of influence standing up and say, I don't understand this. Let's have a conversation in the comments about this. You know what? I'm going to do that. If I can think of something that I don't fully understand, let's have a discussion about it. Rather than me just giving you what I think the answers always are, team. You'd be surprised where you actually find answers. Where you actually find answers. You find them in the strangest places. Not usually in your field. You find them out and about, and with people you wouldn't expect. That's what I've found. Cheers, seat. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. I'm excited. I'm excited to have, like, don't get me wrong, I love art. I love art to bits, but I'm excited to have something else in the world that's more important than me, that I just want to give my time and energy to. I know I love my family and my friends and things like this, but something that no matter what is going on in my life, will always take precedent. And that's what having a kid is. Suddenly having a responsibility greater than yourself forever. And I'm excited for that. Matthew, weird comment, but no, I think a kid's very different to a partner. Partners are actually, they have their own dreams, they're independent in their own way, and they're able to look after themselves. But a child needs you and depends on you. And then it's your responsibility to allow them to have all the tools they need to go off and one day pursue their own dreams. So, huge responsibility. And something I'd really, really like to do. Cheers, guys. I do not Winchester. In Winchester, you make great knives. There we go. Yeah, I agree fairly. I think, yeah. Now, I always hear some people thinking that they don't want kids and things like that, and I get that. Hey, each their own, do your own thing. But for me, I love the idea of it. I love that dream. RC. Yes, indeed. In less than a year, obviously. Man, I love this purple colour though. Popping off the canvas. Building up layers. Thanks, RC. I appreciate it. I had been thinking about getting a helper in the studio. Now I've got one. There we go. Cross through here. Dear, dear, dear. There we go. Yes, indeed. Girl. So when I'm too old to move my hands, a lovely young lady can take over Seb Gower art. No, Steve. Today we are using some acrylics. We're diving amongst a few different painting techniques. I've been playing around with the eggs though, and experimenting with a few new pigments. Some ones that I haven't used so far, which has been pretty exciting. Not just the gouache pigments too, powdered pigments, all sorts of pigments. But the other thing that I'm excited about, Steve, is I do get romantic and whimsical and miss different paint mediums. So I don't think I'll ever commit to just one. But I think they all play an integral role in making work. Essentially, though, what you have to avoid if you're going to use mixed medium is typically you go from lean to fat. So you can go from acrylics to oils, or you can go from oil to egg. Wait. Egg to oil to egg, but then you can't go back to oil. And acrylics to oils. Lean to fat, yeah. But you can't go from oils to acrylics. You can't go from oils. I say can't. Can't's a bad word. When you do it, the painting takes in a funny way. So it doesn't mean don't do it. It means that you're going to get some interesting, unexpected effects unless you expect them. So obviously do you, but what got you into art in the first place? Did your parents like you doing it? My parents, their philosophy was always, let's not, their philosophy was always, let's give our sons the tools that they need to go off and pursue their dreams. So they never told me to do painting or told me not to do painting. That choice was mine. But they gave me the tools so that if I wanted to paint or become a plumber, become an electrician, I would know the steps in order to take charge of those dreams. So here we are. I paint. And so yeah, got the support though. All right, good luck building your igloo. Hope it goes well for you. Here we go. There we are. And I know sometimes people get really upset at their caregivers and parents, their guardians, because they don't support their dreams to become an artist. And you've got to realize that parents just want, or caregivers just want what's best for you. What's best for you, or what they think is the best move for you. And you've got to realize that actually art may not be an easy life. It hasn't been for lots and lots of people. A lot of artists end up having other careers as curators, historians, dealers, waitresses, waiters, side gigs to make sure they can stay afloat and make their art. A lot of artists, by choosing art, choose a very, very difficult path. And if you're a parent, that scares you because you want what's best for your son. You want them to have a happy and an easy route. And your son's or your daughter is opting for something which is likely going to send them down a fairly difficult road. So obviously, you'd try and, should I say deter? Is that the right word? You try and encourage them towards something that you know is secure and safe, that'll bring them happiness. But ultimately, just like in Don't Mess with the Zohan, when the father in Don't Mess with the Zohan realizes that Zohan wants to cut hair, he's in for it 100% and goes to the hair salon and gets his hair cut too. And he's happy and joyful in the process. The point I'm making there is that no one's trying to bring you down just because that's what they want. If someone's bringing you down, there's two reasons for it. Either they want you to have a secure, safe life, or sometimes hurt people hurt people. You might just be on the receiving end of that one day. But it also doesn't mean it's your fault. That just means that I've come to you this time with something not so great. No, Farah, I'm the only one. I'm the only one. My younger brother is a mathematician. My older brother is a lawyer. But that was what they wanted to do. And I'm doing my thing. And we get along all very, very well. G'day one more time. And Jude, welcome on in. Welcome on in. We're on a different shade of blue now. This is a deep blue. Here we go. Yes, I am, Jax. Yes, I am. You're looking at the proud father of a soon-to-be healthy, beautiful little baby girl. Thank you. Well, Farah, I think you could ask the same thing about why my elder brother decided to be a lawyer, why my younger brother loved maths. I think probably you could say parents play a role in it, to notice what a child wants to do and then push them towards it. And probably you could say that actually each individual person has a responsibility to know what's going to be required to produce their own happiness. And for me, I always knew art played some sort of a role in that. I didn't understand the size of that role until later in life when I realized, oh, if I genuinely believe that the best thing I can do with my time on the planet Earth is to make people happy, I'll do a better job of that with art than with my corporate job. And that's when a lot of things changed for me. And I stopped doing art part-time and started doing it full-time. And that was about 2 years ago now. 2 years. Yeah, suddenly Seb's variation of subject matter just stops altogether and we're just painting babies. People are like, can I get a commission of my baby? I'm like, yeah, sure. I've got 15 more of my ones to paint. And then, yes, definitely, you're one next. Hey, Mary Love, welcome on in. Welcome on in. There we go. But one thing, though, that should be acknowledged is I don't paint kids well. We can paint anything, obviously, but my style, with its abrupt, sort of jazzy, wild, layering strokes, typically suit more detailed shots or bada bing ba boo, old people's faces where you can capture layers of wrinkles and experience, and all these colours sort of blossom towards experience, the person's overall character and tell a story. But with a baby, the faces are beautifully smooth. So babies photograph really well. You see a lot of photographs of babies, the smooth gradients and contours of their skin. Smooth gradients never lent themselves to Sib style all that well. And so my babies sometimes come out looking quite, what's the right word? It seems like a juxtaposition because you're mixing the smooth, beautiful face of a child with this jagged, wild kaleidoscope of colours. And sometimes it really pops, but most of the time it usually comes out with the baby looking like it's got some sort of wrinkles going on, like Benjamin Button. Which is totally all good, don't get me wrong. Totally fine. But when you're thinking, I want to capture the beauty and smoothness of my baby's face, if you're ever thinking about smoothness, you've probably got the wrong artist. Because there's nothing smooth about my work. My work is always layered, jarring, like together in harmony. From a distance, it comes together. But up close, baby gonna have some experience in its eyes. Jude, I used to work for a franchise, and I did all sorts of stuff. I did a bit of marketing, I did a bit of store development, I did a bit of, it was a restaurant chain, so I did a bit of recipe development, I did a bit of store openings, I did a bit of fire safety, health and safety, first aid, systemization, all sorts of jazz. I was the ops manager. Kept me very busy. But and so I was doing art in between. But eventually I wasn't getting enough art in, and people were waiting on commissions for long periods of time as I got busy. And so we went for a quantum shift, and I thought, right, time to jump off the deep end, stop spending so long painting. So I stopped spending so long behind a desk, get those 40 hours and throw them into painting. Big jump off the deep end, very scary. But it's always scary. Every jump off any deep end is scary. We always look at people and be like, oh my God, how do they do that? They're so brave. Everyone's just as scared as you are, and just as fragile and as vulnerable and insecure as you are. It's just about having the courage to allow yourself to be that, to take that initial step, and to go for something that you truly care about and believe in. Wow, good jump. Thanks, Mimi. It was. Immediately, I noticed that a lot of the people who purchased paintings were way happier with the timescales going to about a month rather than being about 3 or 4, sometimes 5 months to get commissions. Because if you're only giving it 20 to 30 hours a week, you really fall behind, especially when a work doesn't come together. And this can build up severe emotional and it can build up a lot of stress in what you're doing. So it can be scary when works aren't pulling together the way you want them to. So these are all factors. Thanks, Jude. This one's getting to its final stages now. You can see that it's got very, very intense layering. That's part of the characteristics of this piece. Capturing love, capturing togetherness, and so up close, a lot of layers. Now let me bring you in for a zoom so you can understand what I'm talking about when I say intensely layering. In here, voila, let's go right in. This is what I'm talking about. Lots and lots and lots of colour bouncing over the top of each other. And this is the jacket here, which in part looks like it's actually just black. But when we come up close to it, we see all those colours playing with each other. It's still not there yet, but a lot of colours playing with each other. So when we come back from it, the whole thing comes together. That's the plan anyway. There we go. Bring you back to there. Just undo that a little bit. Perfect. Perfect. Alrighty tighty. Michael, you're on your first warning. Coming on down here. Thanks, Mariah. Appreciate you. Okay, let's have a little look-see here. Tan colours just through here. You're okay, Michael. You know what? It is quite wholesome, though. What's really interesting is sometimes, too, in my inbox, there's people who will say, what was the most recent one? I had someone saying something, giving some constructive feedback, but quite aggressively. And I said, hey, blah, 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 taken on board, thank you so much, blah, blah. They were saying bring in more realism. They didn't like how wishy-washy the paintings can be. And I said, I gave them a talk about leading from intention and why they turn out the way they do. and what I care about that makes them look like this. And it was interesting because when I met not met them in person, but met the person in a very, very human way and had a human discussion with them and showed them respect, we had an engagement that actually suddenly they said, you know what? I've come around to your way of thinking. I'm on board. I still need to see a few more before I really love it, but I've changed my mind a wee bit. So that's always an important facet. You can always, I think that's the most important thing though, bringing someone around. They don't have to come around to your way of thinking, but if you show them respect and care about what they have to say and listen, sometimes they might just join your side. Not all the time, sometimes. There we go. Get a little bit down through there. Where else are we going to go? A little bit in his face here. Just a little bit. Yeah, Mariah. Big fan of it. I think one thing that I was reading about in a book is practicing the art of listening. Listening to understand, not listening to respond. I think a lot of the time, you can tell when you're talking to someone and they're smiling and looking at you, but they're listening to respond to what you're saying, not to actually take on board what. Ooh, I didn't zoom out enough there. 1 second, team. Here we go. Bring you around to here. Maybe a little bit more in. There we go. Perfecto. Not to actually take on board what you or them are actually inherently saying. And we are all guilty of it. Because sometimes in polite conversation where you're going through pleasantries, you do just fall into the habit of asking mundane questions that you don't care about. And that is setting yourself up to actually mundane questions you don't care about. You're sort of setting yourself up to not care about the answers they could give. But if you could ask something that you genuinely would want to know about them, if you can ask them questions you are curious about, they'll see that you're genuinely interested in their answers. And from there, you can form a proper connection. How many times you have a conversation with someone for about 12 minutes and you don't even connect with them at all? It's wild how often that happens. If you get brought along to a dinner or a shared lunch or an event by a friend and you're standing next to some other people that you don't really know, but you have to have some polite conversation for a period of time, and you use that opportunity to go through set motions and not have any meaningful interaction with that person. Now, yes, you do have to have the basics. Hi, my name is. Oh, cool, what brings you here? Blah, blah, blah. That always has to happen, but it doesn't need to be something you don't care about. You can really... why does it look AI generated? Probably because I'm from a foreign country. That would probably be a thing. Imagine if I was, though. Imagine if this whole time, the last year of streaming, I was just actually a robot the whole time. Would you feel betrayed, or would that be pretty cool? That's a big one. Presence. The now. I hear a lot about the now. It's funny because one thing I heard, which is really intriguing, is the past happened. The past didn't happen in the past. It happened in a previous now, and the future isn't waiting in the future. It's a now that's yet to happen. And the only now that really demands the most attention is this one. This now. But everything's just a now, whether it be a now in the future or a now in the past. I thought that was an intriguing way of looking at it, because we do sometimes separate the three out as if they're completely different and unrelated, but they're all just present moments, different points in space and time. Which is, I mean, all simultaneous, yes, but as for a human, that doesn't help us. It doesn't help us because we experience time in a linear fashion. And so, how do we experience time in a linear fashion and then come away from it with a better understanding of ourselves, even if time is happening everywhere all at once? And the answer, I believe, is valuing the now, which sounds so cryptic and different, but actually, one way I do it is I move into my body. Sometimes when I don't want to get up or I'm feeling lethargic, you will yourself. You're like, get up and do that thing. But for some reason, you can't. And it's usually because you're so deeply entrenched inside your own head, you're unable to connect with your body. And so, one thing I suggest is bring that focus back to your body. Breathe. See how your body feels. It's pumping blood. It's sitting there, almost waiting for your command. But if you move into it and wonder, what do you want, body? Then it's funny, it doesn't speak to you with language, but it tells you. Like when you see a candy bar that you really, really want, you look at a candy bar and your body just says, I want it. Your body's sending you a message. It's talking to you, talking to the brain. I am 5'11". 5'11". There we go. Oh, click that back a little bit. Here we go. And you will be queen. There we go. What's that in meters? I've got no idea. No idea whatsoever. I've spent too long living in inches and feet. I guess I talk with too many Americans. Probably. And you will be mean. I won't. And dun 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 do. Dun 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 dun. We can't do that. We should be lovers. And that's a fact. Though nothing will keep us together, we could still turn. Alright, on to the next plate. Right, I need my tans. Tans through here, tans through here. A lot of transparency. I do. And you know what? Shall we give it a go, team? I reckon we should play some music. And we'll see if they keep or if they bump the stream. What do we think is going to be the case? What do we think, team? Mimi, it's funny you say that. I've got some exciting news for you. If you can't afford an original, there are prints available on my website. Not all of them are there. The collection's slowly building. Hold fire for now, though, just because I've got a video coming out, which is how the prints are actually shipped, like how they look and things like that. Hold fire till you see that. And then, if you can't afford a print, totally get it. Economy is wild right now, especially in New Zealand. Well, it's everywhere, but in New Zealand as well. And there'll be free wallpapers, so on your phone. So if you'd like some art, you can have it digitally, which is pretty cool. It's a 21st century thing. Right, let's grab this here. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. Let me just jump on this phone here. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Let me just leap on here. Dun, 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 dun. Where is it? YouTube. Musico. I use YouTube Music. Go for it, Mimi. You may not find all the prints available right now, though. It's only a limited selection. I'm still building out that piece of it. But they're pretty cool. Put some Lana, maybe? Lana. Jeepers. Spot E5. Ooh. Let me sort that out. Here we go. Where is it hiding? It is in here. Originals are pretty fun, but originals aren't for everyone. Like, it's also quite tough. If you've got an original, one second, guys. You've bought something which is going to take up a massive space on your wall. And that's always tough. That kind of investing wall space to something quite large. And especially if you're moving around home, if you're a digital nomad, actually investing money like that can be quite tough. Because then you've got it's like buying furniture almost, you know. Buying and owning furniture can be quite tough. Prints are easy to move around, obviously. NFTs and digital prints, easier again, because you can keep them on your iCloud and things. But if you are settled, you have a space that you call home, and you're looking to actually bring some joy and vitality into the space to make it special for yourself, it can make a massive difference. It's a massive improvement, guys. I was wearing shoes which are comfy to stand in, but they were making too much noise on these tiles. These are much better. Speaking of too, here's a print of my own. This is Africa. I'll show you up close. It's got this beautiful, see around the edges there, very, very subtle mounting, cream, and then just a very, very simple black frame. Doesn't have to be in black, but I went for that to match my current collection. So this is my one. I think this is the second smallest. This is 11.7 inches by 16 I forget, somewhere around that, the second smallest one. But I like this size, and the reason I like this size, like, I understand why people go for big ones, because you've got a space on your wall, but you don't want an original, say, but what is it, 23.4 by 33.1 inches is exactly what you're after. This is good for me, because I can hang these in my bathroom and in the hallway and things, and it's not a giant picture staring out at you, it can be just appreciated there. I'm a big fan of this size. But anyway, I've already pulled this out once, we're not going to do it again. Cool thing about those ones is that print, it's ink and it's printed, it's paper and things like that. A lot of prints, if you are going to buy prints, buy what's called glycee paper. Okay, look for basically a weird word that starts with a G. That's really good paper. It's made in Germany, and it's designed to last almost indefinitely. You'll get 500 years out of that stuff. It's really good. Other papers may be slightly acidic, so over time, they actually degrade. You don't want that. Because if you're going to buy a print, it's cool if you buy a print and it almost lasts for generations. So you can hand it on to your children, children's children, and things like that, rather than actually looking up at the wall one day and seeing that it's actually turned into this really dark, this yellowed, lesser version of what it was. So anyway, that, and then the ink as well. Ink's really important. Depending on who you're going to make your prints, don't do it through some drops thing. Like you can get drop shipping these days where they print it via things like Printful, all these online websites, And they're great, don't get me wrong, it's fun, but the problem with that sort of stuff is it's cheap printing. And if you've seen a cheap printer versus a good printer, the inks don't have the color range. And if you want to get all the pigments showing up in all directions, you need to make sure that you get the best printer you can possibly get. Same story, they've got great printers in London. And those printers, you get the ink that lasts for 500 years, because again, pH balance, longevity, they call it archival. Archival means you can archive it for museums and galleries and things. Look out for archival, look out for Glide Key paper. The ink, you don't need a particular brand as long as it's archival ink. That's what you need to ask. If it's got that, it's going to last semi-indefinitely. This stuff again, 500 years. And the glass that goes over it, get UV protection glass. So that way if there is some light coming in from outside, it won't really damage the print that's behind the glass. Then apart from that, frame, just get something you like. You should be away. OVDB. We don't typically go 25% the size of this size. They get just a wee bit small. I made an exception for a piece of work for a client in New York who wanted his two dogs painted, only because we could do the two dogs beside each other and we did big movement in the strokes. We could, depending on the picture though, if it was like this but much smaller, you could lose definition in the faces and you wouldn't really want that. You want to capture that likeness or characteristic inside the wild paint, but just get a little bit of that likeness. Probably when you get down to that size, you want to do a zoom and actually capture the face very close up in itself and capture those moments and features of someone's face. For me, I've got quite distinctive rings under my eyes, especially when I get really tired, and I get an asymmetrical bunch of wrinkles on my forehead, slightly asymmetrical eyes, a jawline, and if I haven't shaved, a little bit more fluff underneath the chin and across above my lips, and then sometimes a dimple here depending on my expression. And so when you go zooming right up, you can capture those little nuances that make you love a face, basically. And so with your one, we can do the same thing. Yes, grandmother, absolutely. Like I say, the face of an elderly lady has those amazing features, contours, and textures within her face. I like to say, and it's a little bit cheesy, but evidence of smiles, especially in crow's feet. Incredible. I love eyes with crow's feet more than I like regular eyes. I think it's absolutely beautiful to paint. So yes, entirely doable. And a grandma at about this size, there's a lot to work in with that. So very doable. But without me getting too sidetracked, jump on the web page and fill out the commission form, because from there you can attach the photo and you can tell me where you're living for me to do the shipping. But you might get the quote and you'll think to yourself, whoa, he's way too cheap, I don't want it anymore. Or you might think, oh, he's too expensive, no way. You never know until you see the quote. But it varies too. But because I include shipping in the overall quote and things, it's hard for me to just start throwing prices off the top of my head until I know all the details. No, I'm not related to Paddy Gower, but Paddy Gower is a legend, and I'm a big fan of Paddy Gower, but no, there is no relation here with Paddy. I'm sorry to disappoint. I am so sorry to disappoint. Here we go. Now we got a couple of colours here, and I'm going to put a little bit of white beside each one, because as I go through them, I'm going to splice my primary yellow, light sienna, and burnt sienna into whites to get a whole spectrum of tans as we move along. So you'll see here, if I tilt my plate down, this here is my coloured liquid, my acrylic primer, which is going to spread the paint out, make it transparent, make it spread better, all that sort of stuff. And then we've got our yellow, light sienna, burnt sienna, and then you see these little white dots. They are going to give us those lighter colours in there. Oh no, Robert, it's a mixed bag. It's a wild card thing like that, and I think a lot of the time, I mean, it's a hard one, Robert, because you want to make your art available to everyone you possibly can, but it can be tough in terms of, well, when I first started painting, one thing that I did to build my confidence, and you'll love this, one thing I did to build my confidence in what I was charging was I would charge like a contractor, and I still do in terms of like a plumber or an electrician or a builder. If you think about one of those tradies, what they'll typically do is they'll get the quote and they'll break down all the materials and then time and send the invoice like that. And I used to do that. So you'd get $45. This one here has probably got about $170 of materials on it once you get the paint and the mediums all added up. And then you've got your canvas, which would be, for this one, that's 170 New Zealand, so just over 100 American. This canvas here is it's sized with rabbit skin glue by, once it was made, which that's not all that expensive. That's about $7 to $10 of that stuff. And then you've got your unprimed 15 Fox canvas, and then your cedar bars that made it, cedar wood, which is quite dear. So you're talking about a $240 canvas, 150 American, and then you've got your time, which I put at minimum wage, and then that would be what I'd get confidence when I was first starting, saying this is how much I charge. And that would give confidence to first-time buyers. Because you've got to remember, when you're starting out, you're a 21, 22, 18, 16-year-old kid. How does anyone see value in what you're doing? How can you give them security that actually you're not just trying to rip them off? And you can say, well, what if you... And when I first started, I actually charged less than... I was like, I put myself out at, say, $4 or $5 an hour just to really try and get the sale. And that, I mean, this is like a kid mowing lawns almost. Because when you're keen for $1, you're in high school or whatever, anything's great to do. And it's really interesting to do that process and treat yourself more like a tradie, because when you do that, you start to realize, oh, okay, there is value that's established to art. There is value in the ability to capture expression and make something real on a canvas. People see value in this and people want it. And then when you evaluate your options as a human being and how you can have the best impact on the world, art will start to register as a possible option because you've used it in the past to bring pleasure, and then to also use that ability to put a roof over your head or to afford basic supplies. I think I'd get a lot further ahead if I stopped donating so much cash, but at the end of the day, I think that's important, because a lot of the time you could ask yourself, when, you always think, when I'm rich and famous, I'll have enough money and I'll donate some of it and do and care about things. No, do it along the way. If you don't have money right now to donate, to look after people and care, you're not going to have money, I don't believe, to do it when you're rich and famous. That's my opinion. And one thing I learned, it was in a book actually. It was I think it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book was called. In that book, I think it was his advice that said donate 30%. So you invest 30%, you spend 30%, you donate 30%. Well, I've got no money invested, but I'm nailing the donation part. You have that book? Yeah, that's good. It's a good book. There we go. A few little touch points around his face. Still on that light sienna. There's more of a yellowy tone to it than the burnt sienna is going to have. Gotta love that. Here we go. Lovely. Mimi, I do not. But I do have a little tacker on the way. A lovely baby girl, Mimi. I'm so excited to be a dad. That's the plan. That is the plan. To get a little helper in the studio. She can crack the eggs for me and make the egg tempera. Is this for an omelette today, or are we actually painting? Here we go. There we go. That's very sweet to say. It's very sweet to say. Now, burnt sienna. This is a classic case. We're going to need to do a brown painting soon because I need to use up my burnt sienna, which has been unused for too long. It just becomes a little bit harder to mix. It's still very usable, but it just takes longer on the brush to get it ready. This will be the last colour that we throw on, team. Then we'll come back to this work at another date. Beautiful. Get a little bit over here. There we go. Then over here on this face. Beautiful. And then just dab a little bit of this up through here. Lovely, lovely leathery colour. Leather always works really well with pink team. It's lovely connection between those two colours. They get along really well. Always thoroughly enjoy them. There we go. And then this is the corner where it wanted the attention. Just over here. This is where I want to show some love. Grab some more white. And through here, beautiful. And then, beautiful. Same story over here, a little bit. Here we go. There we go. A little bit of yellow, mix it in here. And just over here. Yeah. Here. There we go. Whew. Whew. All right. Let's get a little bit more into this background here. But we are drawing very close to where I want this painting to be. So what's a Kiwi? Kiwi is a New Zealander. Kiwi is a New Zealander. Well, Kiwi's technically a bird, but it's slang for a New Zealander. And bow. We will stop there, team. We will stop right there. Thank you very much. Need somebody with a human touch. And we're not done yet. We're not done yet, but we're pausing. Excuse the intensity of the light. Can I avoid it? Not really, but you can see the texture coming out on the work, which is kind of fun. I'll show you slowly there. There we go. Just a little bit of texture. Playing around. There's a little bit actually just there I want to touch with a little bit of this. Mix in with this. There we go. A little bit more. That's just right there. And there. And there. 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 Perfect. Whoop. A little bit more of this through here. And there. And there. And there. And there. Perfect. Whew. Light can have a huge impact on the painting's outcome, but it doesn't mean you want to control the light all the time in every situation. Sometimes I'll wear pink glasses because you'll notice in this work here, there's actually not a whole lot of pink in it, but I always notice a huge amount of magenta and pink and purples. So pink glasses make me see everything in pink, and therefore I use more yellows and blues. And then sometimes bright light makes you, everything has different impacts. Basically, don't get hung up on thinking you need your lighting to be perfect and exactly the same every time. Have some fun. Let it change. It's better for you. And then when lighting conditions aren't exactly what you want them to be, you're ready for that difference to calibrate to it and handle it better. So be good on that. Now, I need to race off and pick up a laptop charger to fix up these prints. I'm going to do that, and then when I come back, we'll jump on another live and do the other canvas I've got. It's primed and ready to go, but I don't want to miss out on getting my laptop charger. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining in. Appreciate you being here. We've made some good strides on this painting. It's looking pretty special. I'm enjoying it. If it's morning or night, wishing you all the best. Hope you have a great day, great night. Absolute pleasure being here with you guys, and let's do it again soon. Kind of like the way you end the date. Hey, it's been fun. Let's do it again soon. But anyway, cheers, guys. Bye for now. Bro is not blocking me. Well, no, it's the first time you've commented. How could we? Good to have you here. Bye, guys.